What is going on, everyone? Chris with Journals, Comics, and Pop Culture. Super excited to be bringing you guys this new video series, the top 50 key comics to invest in for under $50. That's right, the top 50 for under 50. This is going to be a 5-part video series where in each video we're counting down 10 books. So in today's video, we're looking at numbers 50 through 41. The way that we're going to count down, the lower we get on the list, the hotter these books have going to be on the market over the last few years. We're going to be looking at a current fair market value of graded books and comparing that to 3 years ago. And then, of course, we're going to be looking at an average raw value as well. Before we get into it, if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please take some time to do so. I make content almost every single day of the week. Make sure to check out all the awesome links below, including if you're in need of comic book supplies, check out the link to bcwsupplies.com. You can use the code JOURNOS to receive 10% off of your BCW order. Remember, this code never expires. You can use it as many times as you want. But shall we get into these books, folks? Let's do it. Let's start off with book number 50. All right, so this book right here, Marvel Superheroes number 11, it's a little outside the exception, and I'll explain. This is the untold origin of Rogue. So basically, this was a continued couple of issues that were supposed to be printed in the original Miss Marvel run in the 1970s that never made it to press. It was released, I believe it was 92 that this book finally came out, and it actually tells the origin of Rogue and how she gets her powers from Carol Danvers. So this is what we're going to do when looking at numbers. You're going to see on this list today that there's a good few books that don't have any CGC fair market value data. The reason being is because there's just none on the census. And I think, at least for this book, it goes to show how scarce this book is on the market. Now, let's look at average raw sale. Now, this is the top 50 for under 50, right? And you're looking at this average raw sale, and it says $67. Well, what does that mean? It means that, of course, if you take up all the sales, the recent sales, you add up the sales price and divide them by how many books sold, you get your average raw price. But that's an average. So this is why I put this book on the list. This book is very scarce out there, and there's only, if you're talking about online, I only see a couple online for sale at a time. But there's a chance that you could still get this book for $50 or under. It's probably not going to be a high grade, but it's out there, and you just have to have patience to look for it. So that's why I put it on this list. I think, look, if we get Rogue in the MCU, I think all of Rogue's books are going to spike, but this is one of those, because of the scarcity and how rare it is to find out there, even though it's a 90s book, I think this book has the potential to really boom, and I had to include it on this list. So, but let's move on to book number 49 on the list, and we got some DC love, World's Finest, number 173. Now, this is the first Silver Age appearance of Two-Face. There's a huge demand for certain first appearances of your Golden Age, Batman Rogues Gallery. For Silver Age, this one flies under the radar for some reason, and that is these Golden Age characters that show up in the Silver Age for the first time. Now, we do have a current 9.2 CGC fair market value of $230. Now, keep in mind the graded values on these books, of course, are going to be over $50. I mean, that's pretty standard if you guys are familiar with how graded books work and how they're priced. What we don't have here is anything to compare that to. Again, very minimal CGC books on the census, so we don't have any data of how this book has been increasing. But for an average raw, $17, folks. Now, keep in mind when you're looking at the average raw, understand that this is a Silver Age book. You know, it's going to sit differently for Silver Age, Bronze Age, modern. So for a Silver Age book, when you think of average raw, you're probably going to get more of an average of mid-grade books or lower mid-grade books that are selling next to a bunch of high grades if it was a modern book, right? But still, finding this book even in a mid-grade for $17 is an absolute steal in my humble opinion. Like I said, this book goes under the radar, and I always say this about DC books, even without movie spec and movie hype, these are books that are very solid long-term investments. All right, and we're going to see some more DC stuff and how they do increase through the years. We're going to see some 3-year comparison here coming up on some books soon. But let's move on to number 48 on the list. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 209, the first appearance of Calypso. Now, there is rumors that Calypso is going to be in the Kraven the Hunter Sony film. So there's already some spec around this, but let's look at these numbers here. Look at this. No graded books that I could find in recent sales. So it tells me one thing. Maybe when the Calypso rumors started pouring out, people maybe started sending their books into CGC and they just haven't gotten back yet. I don't know. But to me, it shows that there's still a lot of room for this book to grow. An average raw sale, $22. You got a 50-cent Bronze Age book. So again, you could probably find a solid, nice mid-grade, maybe even high mid-grade book for around that $20 mark for this book. Again, you know, this is movie hype spec book, but right now, without any real confirmation, or I don't believe there's been any official casting confirmation, I do believe that you guys could probably find this book for a solid value with a potential short-term gain at least as well. Now, before we move on, I do want to remind everyone, when I do these videos, folks, I'm not here to tell you guys what to buy. I'm not here to tell you to buy anything. I'm here to present data and facts with my personal opinion on these books, and you guys as collectors need to make sure that you are educating yourselves, doing your due diligence, and making sound decisions when you purchase books for your collection or for whatever reason. You got to be willing to take the risk involved, and there's got to be some love there. If you don't have any love for the book, maybe it's not for you. All right, folks, let's move on to book number 47 on the list. We got some Brave and the Bold, number 197. This is the marriage of Earth 2, Catwoman, and Batman. So this is technically, officially, the first marriage of Batman and Catwoman. This is also the first appearance of Golden Age Catwoman in, I wouldn't say modern comics, because this is still technically a Bronze Age book. Now let's look at these numbers. Current 9.4 CGC fair market value, $61. $61. This is just sold in January. Blows my mind. But again, very, very scarce on the CGC market, that is. But look at this. Again, an average raw sale of $19. This was recently reprinted in the DC Dollar book, you know, reprints that they do similar to the Marvel's True Believers. I think there's a lot of long-term room for growth in this book, and it's still a very low risk, very, very affordable book that I think, again, I mean, it's extremely classic when you take the first appearance of a Golden Age character outside of the Golden Age, and we know what the relationship between Batman and Catwoman is in modern comics and how that can definitely impact this moving forward as well. So just a really awesome, affordable book. But let's move on to book number 46 on the list, Amazing Spider-Man number 9 from 2014. This is the second appearance of Spider-Gwen. Now, this book has been getting hot. As of late, there's been a lot of Spider-Gwen spec, mostly, obviously, because of the end of the Spider-Verse. And we hope to see, a lot of people hope to see her in the MCU. I don't know if that'll ever happen. But look at these numbers. Current 9.0 CGC fair market value, $100. Again, not much on the census in terms of graded books. So we don't have that 3-year plus or minus. But an average raw is going for $26. So again, being a modern book, that average is probably more for a lot more higher grades. I'm not saying near mint plus books, but definitely higher grades for that $26. I always talk about the next best things. And if you are priced out of Edge of the Spider-Verse #2, second appearances. Right now, second appearances are big because a lot of collectors know that they are important if they fit your budget. Obviously, they're never going to trump the first appearances, but they're much more affordable keys that are available to many more collectors that are on a budget. So I am always looking for some awesome second appearances. This isn't going to be the only second appearance on this list today. All right, folks, before we go on to the remaining 5 books for today, I got to give a big shout out to today's sponsor, popculturezone.com. And if you don't mind, I'm going to take just under 60 seconds to tell you all a little bit about popculturezone.com. Popculturezone.com is an online shop focusing on hot new comics, including exclusive and incentive variants, CGC graded comics, and tons of other inventory, including pop culture toys and other collectibles, all at low and competitive prices. PopCultureZone.com ships all over the US for a flat rate charge of only $4.99. That's right, $4.99, and there's no taxes included, excluding New Jersey. Pop Culture Zone is also on eBay, where they hold a 100% positive feedback rating with over 8,000 completed transactions for this year alone. Make sure to check out the link to their website below, as well as their eBay link, so be sure to give them a follow there as well. All right, folks, thank you so much. Now let's just get right on to book number 45. We have, what did I tell you? What did I tell you about second appearances? I knew it was coming. Justice League of America number 110. This is the second appearance of Jon Stewart. So again, another very affordable second appearance key book. Let's look at these numbers. Current 9.4 CGC fair market value, sitting at about $109. Again, very, very low sales out there in graded books, but an average raw sale sitting at $14 again. For a book like this is early Bronze Age. You know, you're looking at a nice mid-grade book maybe for $14. So very, very overlooked second appearance in my humble opinion. And again, this is outside of movie spec or anything like that, but we do have the Green Lantern show coming, and if we do see Jon Stewart show up in any form or fashion, that can definitely impact a lot of these Green Lantern books. So I think this is, again, another very, very low risk book to look after if you could find this book really for under $20 in a nice mid-grade. Maybe you could find a nice high mid-grade. That black cover though, it might be tough. All right, let's move on to book number 44 on the list, World's Finest number 169. Well, we always talk about second best things. How about third best things? The third appearance of Batgirl. Why not, folks? It's still a Silver Age book. And look at this. Okay. In a 7.5, again, very, very slim pickings for CGC sales out there. But in 2019, a 7.5 sold for $95. So, we got to kind of play around in our heads what we think that might go for today. But check this out. Average raw, again, Silver Age book, probably lower mid-grade. $10 though. $10. And I want to point out too, these Silver Age books, when you get into higher grades, they're going to really increase in value and in price on the market. So if you see a book in a higher grade of this book for a few $100s plus, it's not going to surprise me. That's how comics work, especially Silver Age ones. But to get a decent mid-grade copy for $10 blows my mind. And again, folks, when books increase on the market, if they're increasing in the high grades, those lower grades are going to follow. And I talk about this often. Percentages is what is important. When you are on a budget and you can't put out hundreds of dollars for a high grade book, and you're maybe putting out 10 or 20 for maybe a mid-grade book, if that book is increasing, say 30 to 40% in value every year in a high grade, it's most likely going to be increasing somewhere around 30 to 40% in value every year in mid grades and low grades as well. So keep that in mind. All right, folks, 3 more for today's list. Let's move on to book number 43. A lot of DC love right now in this 10 spot. We got Batman number 240. Again, look, next best things. Third appearance of Ra's al Ghul. Man, I personally love this character, so I'm a little biased, but again, let's look at these numbers. We finally have some 3-year plus minus, and we're gonna see that from here on out. And remember what I said in the beginning of the video, that plus minus, that increase in value is gonna get higher and higher as we count down now. But let's look at these numbers. Current 9.6 CGC fair market value sitting at $200. 3 years ago, 175. That's a 14% increase. So again, I mean, it's increasing. And again, no movie hype. It's just DC key books doing their thing, over that long term. And I want to point out too, guys, not a stickler for 9.8. So you're not going to see me 9.8, 9.8, 9.8 on these books as well. Average raw sale for this book, folks, $17. That again, these DC books in that are silver to bronze age that are so affordable, most likely in these mid-grade copies. Wow. I mean, and again, this is a 50 keys for under $50. I can imagine what type of grade you could get this book for $50. You could probably get a really nice, crisp, fine, plus maybe even better looking copy of this book, getting closer to that $50 mark. So just keep that in mind as well. Next up, book number 42 on the list. Another modern book, Justice League 31. This is the first full appearance of Jessica Cruz. Again, though, I was talking about the Green Lanterns. There is some good live action movie spec for, or should I say TV show spec for Jessica Cruz. But still, let's put that aside. I do think this is a solid investment regardless. Now, before we get any type of trailer or any more announcements for the Green Lantern show, it could be a good time to buy right now before that happens, because of course when that happens, we're definitely gonna see some increases. And then depending how the show does, we could see some cool offs. But for a modern book and a modern character, I think Jessica Cruz is definitely the future. I think there's a lot there long term as well. Current 9.6 CGC fair market value sitting at $118. 3 years ago, 98. That's a 20% increase. So it's moving up a little bit with an average raw sale of $35. So and I know just 3, 4, maybe even 5 years ago, there was a point that you could get this book, in a high grade raw for under $10 easily. So this book is definitely doing things. Again, be careful with this book right now because of what's going on with the HBO Max Green Lantern show. But look, be patient, keep your eyes and ears to the streets, and deals are out there. All right, folks, last book of the day coming in at number 41. We got some Spider-Man. This is Spectacular Spider-Man, number 90, the second appearance of the Black Symbiote suit. Now, remember, this is top 50 for under 50, and that's why you're seeing a lot of second appearances or even third appearances on this list, even in the first 10 books, because I can't put the first appearance of the first Black Symbiote suit on the top 50 for under 50. Those are way beyond the $50 price range. But look, if you're looking for another affordable second best thing, maybe third best, because if you want to take into consideration Secret Wars number 8, the origin of the black costume. But let's look at these numbers. Current 9.6 CGC fair market value, $117. Still very affordable in my humble opinion. 3 years ago, 91. That's a 29% increase with the average raw sale of $48. Copper Age, mid-80s Copper Age book, probably. You find a nice fine book, maybe fine plus, somewhere around there for $48. That's just, again, these are my rough estimates, folks. Now, I've been saying this for a long time. As soon as we see the Black Symbiote hop onto Tom Holland's Peter Parker in the MCU, these Black Symbiote suit books are going to go absolutely nuts. Now, a little bit of a spoiler here. If you haven't seen No Way Home, but We know that Eddie seemed to go back into his universe. What was left behind? A little droplet of the alien symbiote. Guys, telling you, I don't know the future of Tom Hardy teaming up with Tom Holland, but I do know that this is coming. It's coming. They absolutely set it up. So again, I'm not here to tell you what to buy, but if I had to honestly ask, if you asked me if it was a good time to buy this book, I would say it's definitely a solid time. Now, of course, this book has already been increasing in value, but if you look at the 3 year, it hasn't been extreme yet. So if you could find a good deal for this book and it's something that you can settle on and you're comfortable with, it's a decent time, because not only do I truly believe that these symbiote books are going to go crazy once something big happens in the MCU, these symbiote books are definitely long-term investments, in my humble opinion. All right, folks, that's my video for today. We have four more. We're going to continue counting down 40 to 31 in the next video. Look out for that in a few days. Let me know what you guys thought of the books on the list today. Let me know how many you have in your collection. Let me know if you guys are hunting any, or if any are on your want list right now. Now, before we go, though, I do, as always, have to give a big thank you to all my Patreon members who support the channel each and every month. If you guys are interested, it's only $3.99 a month. The link's below, and you get to check out the information and what kind of perks you guys get every month. Big shout out. I'm going to name you all off: Sherry, Matt, Kyle, Justin, Kenwick, Jordan, X11, Shelby, Kenneth, Rich, Tony, Marty, Larry, Michelle, Keith, Michael, Tricky Clicky, Alvin, Fletch, Pedro, Peter, Doji, Larissa, Sagi, Dan, and Simon. Thank you guys so much. But let's not forget to all of my YouTube channel members. That's only $1.99 a month if you guys are looking to join by clicking that join button below. Thank you all so much. My channel members do get extra perks every month as well, including some early access to videos like these. And I will be running our end of the year contest for both my Patreon members and my YouTube members at the end of this week. So again, thank you all so much for watching. Look out for the next installment real soon. Take care, be well, and until next time.